I spent a fascinating hour on Zoom with the manager of one of the ethical portfolios we recommend and support. He was kind enough to give his time to talk to some clients with quite a bit invested who'd seen a pretty good first couple of years with his fund, but that had been spoiled by the last pretty rubbish 18 months. Pretty rubbish for most investors in stocks and shares, but more so for investors in ethical, sustainable and responsible funds, which are seeking to do good things with your money. Now, I've already talked and written of the reasons why they've suffered more than others, that it's oil and arms companies which have prospered since Ukraine, government's investments has turned back to oil and not to renewables and so on. But look, said our client, lots of the funds you hold in my portfolio have plummeted. Why didn't you get out of them? Why didn't you put in some sort of stop loss to protect my money? Well, for one reason, it isn't that sort of portfolio. But perhaps more importantly, the manager told us that the companies held in the funds which have seen falls in value, or drawdown in fund manager speak, are actually making a profit and have value, are doing good things which are and will be needed for curing and preventing disease, reducing carbon emissions, powering electric cars, and all the other things in the future that we hope we'll all have. At the moment, stock markets aren't looking at these fundamentals, to use more fund manager speak. All the concern is around short-term worries about interest rates and inflation. If markets, and remember, markets are mainly actually lots of young blokes working for banks in front of computers, if they think rates will go up, it's expected that the return from bonds, which are loans to companies and governments, and the dividends from shares will go up, which means that the value of those shares and bonds currently paying interest and dividends which are less than the current going rate will go down to make that percentage return go up. Confusing, I know, to the extent that even the investment professionals call these technical issues. What it all means is that it's, I'm afraid, the same old message: stay in for the long term and put your faith in those in whom we're putting our faith, the fund managers who do a good job and have always done a good job looking under the bonnet to find out what's actually going on, particularly in this sort of fund. Now, there are alternatives, of course. For instance, tracker type funds, which will sometimes do better, are cheaper, but live in the here and now and can't think for themselves about the future. More of those perhaps another time or next time, depending what happens in the next investment week or so.